I'm Silva Semerciyan. I was born in America in Michigan, and I moved to the UK in my early 20s, and I've lived here ever since. My play is called PRZEWALSKI'S HORSES. It is the story of a young woman who walks 60 miles from Kyiv to her grandmother's house in the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone and discovers that her grandmother isn't going to let her in the door. The themes within it, again, are home and the sense of displacement that each character feels, that they are pushing back against that displacement, they're resisting it, even if it means returning to the most toxic place on earth. When I found out I'd been shortlisted for the Bruntwood Prize, I was beyond thrilled because I had I'd spent the whole day fretting. And I believe that when Rosie called me, I was just off the phone with my husband, who I'd been moaning to about the fact, or crying to, if I'm being honest, about wondering whether I had reached my limit with playwriting. And then I got the call, like I literally put down the phone to him and it was the next call I got. So I was thrilled and utterly surprised. It has meant a lot because with the pandemic, it did look as though I might have reached the limit of how far my playwriting career would go. I'm really a very happy and motivated lecturer, and so that I thought perhaps this needs to just go to the fore now, and perhaps playwriting as a career or being able to see my work on stage might have had its day. I was really excited because I thought perhaps a new chapter was opening. This play I began when I was pregnant with my second child, and he's now 9. So it took quite a few years, but part of the process, some things came really readily and easily. The character at the core of the play was the very first person I imagined. I imagined her arriving on her grandmother's doorstep and saying that she wanted to stay for good, and that was the genesis of the entire project. So those sorts of things came easily, but other things like the actual direct focus of the play, that took a bit more time because there are so many themes implied by the piece. The kind of dissolution of the Soviet Union, the concerns for the environment and our reliance on nuclear energy, and even maternal sacrifice and the fact that it goes unquestioned. Those things all had a sort of point in my reckoning with what the material had to have as its ultimate focus. But then ultimately when I understood that the main focus was home, then everything started to fall into place a lot more readily. And so that process went quite quickly. Among the topics that I've researched have been things like Chernobyl heart, which is a condition that's been caused in the sort of periphery of the exclusion zone to babies being born in that area. Other topics such as the formation of the Soviet Union, what had actually been the process by which it was formed, and the topic of the Holodomor, which was a terrible chapter in Ukraine's history, and understanding why that took place from the point of view of Stalin and his formation of the Soviet Union. All those things I needed to kind of have time to live with those ideas and to see where the play would need to kind of have them at its forefront and where those things would have to remain in the background.